Hi, I'm Miss Roz, and today we are going to be making cornbread. I am doing this as an extra credit for you guys to do for with your chili. So, ingredients that we need for today is going to be a half a cup of some cornmeal, so it should be yellowish, and then a cup of some flour. I also need about 1.5 teaspoons of some baking powder. A quarter teaspoon of some salt, and then 3/4 cups sugar, but we're actually going to divide it. So I have I have a half a cup in one of my little cup things, and then I have a quarter of a cup in the other. And then I need 6 tablespoons of melted butter, and then 2 eggs, and we're going to talk about how to separate those. And then I also have a half a cup of milk and a half a teaspoon of some vanilla. All right. So preheat your oven to 375, and then also get out an 8x8 pan if you have one. So something that looks like this, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to put in one into a large bowl. I'm going to put my flour, right? Get my flour into there, as well as my cornmeal. So all my dry ingredients, right? Cornmeal, that baking powder, the salt, and then the half a cup of some sugar, right? And then you can whisk that together to make sure that it's all nice and incorporated. Break up any of those lumps. Like so. Fantastic. All right, and then in a separate bowl, I'm actually going to use a measuring cup, liquid measuring cup. Right. I do need to divide my eggs. Right. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that I have eggs, yolks on one side, and egg whites in another. Right. So I'm going to take off my ring so I don't get this. I'm going to actually use my hands when I do this. Right. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack the egg, open, and then make sure the egg goes into your hand, right? And ideally what you want to do is make sure that the egg yolk does not break, right? And then you can make sure the egg white falls through your fingers and put the egg yolk into the other, right? Ideally, you want to make sure that you don't get any egg yolk into the egg white, right? We're going to whip up our egg whites so they're nice and fluffy and add a lot of air into them. And typically speaking, if there's too much too much fat from the egg yolk in your egg white, it won't whip up, right? So get as much egg white as you can out, and then separate them like so, right? And then make sure you wash your hands because you have raw egg all over them, right? And then we're going to whip up those egg whites, right? So I'm actually going to use my stand mixer here, right? And I am going to use my whisk attachment because I want to add a lot of nice air to the to these egg whites. So we're going to take these egg whites. Place those in there. Right, push this down, lock it, right, and then turn it up. So actually, one of the things I do remember, and I forgot to change this out before I started, is that egg whites and cream, typically do not whip up in a glass bowl. I always use the glass bowl because it's easier for you guys to see inside. However, it tends to not whip up well in a glass bowl. So I actually have to change it out to a metal bowl. All right, and transfer it, and it should hopefully now whip up. That was my fault, but a good lesson to bring up. All right, and then let's try this again. Lock, turn on. Now, while we wait for that, right, we're going to add the other ingredients together. I have all the other liquid ingredients. So that means that these egg yolks are going to come into here. Right, you'll notice that my butter was melted, which means it's going to be warm. Right, and my milk. So I actually heated my milk just a little. Put it in there for maybe about 30 seconds. I do need to temper the eggs first to make sure that these eggs don't cook. Right, so I'm gonna slowly pour in my warm milk first and mix it up with my eggs. Right, slowly bringing that temperature up. And then I'm going to add in my warm butter. Alright, so slowly add and temper those eggs with the warm melted butter. Alright, and then what I'm actually going to do is now mix in and fold in my liquid into my dry ingredients. Right, and then you're going to fold this. Now this is going to be a little thick once it gets mixed in, but once we add those lovely egg whites, it will look a lot better. Right, so lightly fold everything in. Right, and now let's look at our egg whites. Right, they should look kind of like a cloud. Right, so it looks kind of like you can see the stiff peaks. Now, once we get to that white portion like that, I'm going to actually add some of that remaining sugar, and this will help to stabilize it so that it keeps nice and fluffy. So I'm going to add that sugar into there, and then I'm going to just mix it one more time. And once all that sugar is incorporated, it should be a nice, pretty, glossy, white kind of, right? So it should look like this, nice and glossy, right? So we're going to actually add all of the egg whites into our batter here, right? Now, these are nice and fluffy. There's a lot of air incorporated, which is going to help it rise. So when you go to mix and add your egg whites in, you want to make sure that you keep all that nice foam and air in there. So what you want to do is you want to just fold it down nicely, right? You don't want to whip it, right? Because again, I want to make sure that all that air hopefully stays incorporated into my mixture. All right, and then once this is all put together, I'm going to just put this into a greased pan, right? And I'm going to bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes, right? So make sure that you check it at about 25 minutes to make sure that it's not overbaked. All right, so make sure you get all that batter from the bottom so that it's fully incorporated. All right, and then I'm just going to spray my pan, pour it in, and then put it into the oven. All right. All right. All right, and now it's ready for the oven. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you.